So Llama 2, it is basically giving the developers that power that you can take this model and start creating products like ChatGPT.
There is a lot of entanglement with the Hollywood strike situation and the whole AI development that is happening, right?
This is a move because of threads, right? So threads took a lot of front page discussions and having the fastest number of users.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tech Banter. My name is Ankur Datta. I'm a tech professional based out of Seattle.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vishal. I'm a software engineer in a big tech company, and I'm also based in Seattle. Let's get started. We will discuss about three topics that are trending right now. The first topic is the release of Llama 2, the large language model from Meta. Second one is we will talk about the Hollywood strike that is going on. And the third one, we will talk about the rebranding of Twitter to X.
Vishal, what are you drinking today?
For me, today, I just have a green tea. How about you, Ankur?
Very healthy. I'm not drinking anything alcoholic. I got some guava juice.
So, Ankur, for the first topic, you know that, right? Meta has released the LLM model and they have open sourced it actually.
Yeah,
So, have you tried it?
I have not tried it. I'm seeing a
Okay,
lot of buzz, but I haven't gotten a chance to try it out yet. So I'm looking
cool.
forward to listening from you.
Meta released open source Llama 2. Llama 2 is basically an large language model. When you say product like Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT is a product, it's a chat bot. But behind the scene, Chat GPT is using an AI large language model, which is giving it the capability to do this conversation in a contextual way, in a natural language, input output, right? So basically, if you have the whole magic happens in the model, the how strong the model is, the product will be that much better, right? So Llama 2, it is basically giving the developers that power that you can take this model and start creating products like ChatGPT. So I have this
Got it.
comparison between Llama 2 and GPT-4. GPT-4 is the latest model that is the premium, the plus version of ChatGPT, which is around, I think, $20 per month.
Yeah.
So let's do a comparison between Llama 2 and GPT-4. So basically, this is the comparison that is on OpenAI website. They have four parameters that we are going to compare on, right? One is the model architecture. So they say Llama 2 is an auto regressive language model that uses an optimized transformer architecture. So that means that transformer is really, really optimized, right? On the other hand, GPT-4 is based on 8 models for 220 billion parameters. Now, that is a very important number, 220 billion. Llama 2 has various versions starting from around 7 billion parameters to 13 billion to 70 billion parameters, right? And you can see the size of the parameters that GPT-4 has, right? It is 220 billion, which is almost 3 times the best Llama 2 model that is out there, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so I think, yeah, they are discussing after the model architecture, they are discussing the parameter size, right? And yeah, I just mentioned that there is a 3x difference almost in the parameter size for Llama 2 and GPT-4. The other thing is the language support, right? Llama 2 currently supports only English language. They are very quickly adding support for different languages. On the other hand, GPT-4 model has enormous support, right? Basically, they don't specify, but I have actually used multiple different languages with GPT-4, and it is not very optimal on those language, but still you can work with it. The third thing is the availability and accessibility. So Llama 2 is an open source and freely available. That is one of the best thing that they have done, Meta has done, right? They have given it, like you can even use it for commercial use, right? For free. So you can literally use this model, build your products, and you can sell those products even. There is a small, I think, a note that they have mentioned that large cloud providers cannot use it for commercial thing, right? So the big tech players will still have to do a business contract with them. On the other hand, GPT-4 is basically a paid system, and they have a commercial licensing model, right? So it is not freely or open sourced. So yeah, I think this is really revolutionary. Everyone should at least give it a try and see if they can use it in any use case that they have. I think I think there are different variations for Llama model, right? There is a chat version and there is a basic version. So I played with chat version, to be honest. And the best use case I will tell you is whenever I talk to chat GPT, right? I'm always worried about the queries that I'm sending, the questions that I'm asking, right? Somewhere it is getting stored and the model is reading it, and somewhere, I don't know, this is just a pure speculation, that my identity and those queries are being tied together. uh, with Llama 2, I was able to do it without internet. You just download it and you're good to go. So I think that is one of the biggest use case for Llama 2, that according to me, right? There are many other use cases, like you can literally build an app, a mobile app, by using Llama 2 model.
You mean like the way you ask GitHub Copilot to write code for you, it can do something similar in that sense?
Why not? But I don't know if it is optimized for that or not. But I don't think like people are gonna hold back, right? The developers are gonna experiment a lot with this.
This is where I think you were talking about this, right? The size of the model.
So this is when you say 7B, 13B, 70B, this is the size of parameter size, right? So
Yeah.
every model is having various parameters, right? This is the parameter size. And usually it is considered that the more parameter size you have, the better the model is. I don't think that is the right way also to judge the model. There are various different benchmarks, to be honest, right? And like MMLU is one of the parameter. Then the human evaluation is one of the benchmarks that they have. So I think, but when I compared Llama 2 with the current model that are there, I even compared it with Palm 2, the model that is provided by Google. Llama 2 stands, it is it is meeting all the benchmarks, I will say. And the best thing is it is not very huge. So it is very efficient, very simple. That is the power of it. So, Ankur, what is happening in the Hollywood section?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was seeing the buzz around the Hollywood strike for the last few weeks. And for this week's podcast, I thought I'll dive deep into the topic a little bit and try to unwrap it for myself, and hopefully for the listeners it will be informational. So yeah, for the people who are not super close to the details around the Hollywood strike, so what is happening is, since the last 2 months, the Writers Guild of America, WGA, is on a strike. And then recently, another union called the Screen Actors Guild, which represents all the actors in Hollywood, also joined the strike. And this is the largest strike by like the workers or the artists working in Hollywood, right? So the Writers Guild of America represents almost 11,200 writers who work for different Hollywood studios. And then the Screen Actors Guild represents more than 160,000 artists or actors who work in Hollywood, right? So they are on one side demanding for better terms for work, and on the other side is the producers or the studios, right? So think of Netflix. They make a lot of movies and TV shows these days. Then you have Amazon. Then you have all the like other major Hollywood studios. And the Hollywood studios are represented by an organization called the AMPTP, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. So you have the producers and studios on one side, and the writers and actors guild on the other side, right? So they are asking for better terms, and this strike is going on, and it seems like both the parties are not able to agree on the terms which will end the strike. Now, like, why is this strike happening, right? When I say that they're the artists and the actors and the writers are asking for better terms, what what is the situation that they are going through right now? So I looked at some data around that to better understand this. So the writers compensation have actually gone down 4% over the last decade, right? So instead of the compensation going up, it has actually gone down 4%. And then if you adjust it based on the inflation that has happened over the last 10 years, the compensation has actually gone down 23%. That's a significant drop, uh, considering that over the last 10 years, the cost of things have like gone up significantly for all of us, right? So that's obviously very difficult for the writers and the artists. But on the other hand, the budgets for making movies and TV shows that the studios have has actually gone up by 50%, right? And then we all know about the compensation for the executives or the people who run these studios. They get a lot of compensation, right? It runs into, like, in certain cases, hundreds of millions of dollars that like each of these studio heads take home in terms of their compensation, right? So there is a huge disparity in terms of the comp of the executives versus the people on the ground who are actually like writing and starring in these movies. So that's one thing, like, that's the situation. That's what they're asking to change, and that's the reason for the strike. And so that was in terms of the compensation, right? The second thing is, in addition to the compensation, there is a lot of entanglement with the Hollywood strike situation and the whole AI development that is happening, right? So with the super fast progress in the AI space that we all are seeing, right? Hollywood has obviously, studios have started making use of AI to make movies much more faster, many more movies, and also to reduce the cost of making the movies. So how they are doing it? Obviously, for writing, they are using AI to write scripts. In terms of acting, they are using AI to generate like AI actors, right? So one of the things that the studios are trying to do is to, like, there was an example that they are calling the artists, and they are basically generating they are basically taking video or pictures of their entire face and body, and then they're using that, they're asking them to sign waiver so that they could use the likeness. The word is likeness. So characters that look same or similar to those actors for perpetuity, right? So think of, like,
Wow,
even after the actor has died, they could
that's
continue to use
crazy.
them without compensating for them, right? So what they are saying is, okay, you come, you're going to take these images, we are going to pay you for a day's salary, and then after that, we have the right to use that forever
Yeah,
without paying you, right? So obviously, what they can do is they can take, like, pictures of 100 actors, and then they can create like thousands of characters out of that, right? So AI is kind of disrupting Hollywood in some
Mhm.
ways, and the actors and the writers wants to make sure that they can protect their jobs.
So, just a couple of weeks ago, Ankur, we talked about 8 tools that are going to disrupt the creativity, right? And we are seeing this in real life, actually.
Yeah,
And all these Hollywood participants, these are creators, right? Be it an
yeah,
actor, a writer, right? So, we can see the
yeah,
disruption is happening as we speak.
yeah. Disruption is happening in real time. And
Yeah.
also, like when I talk about actors or Hollywood writers, typically you think of like these are very rich people, and they are
Hmm.
probably living in their Bel Air homes in Los Angeles. But that's not true. Like when I was reading more about this topic, I realized the average the hourly pay of a Hollywood actor is just $27 per hour, right?
Oh,
So when we talk about actor, we are not like talking about Tom Hanks or
Tom Cruise.
yeah, Tom Cruise or Jennifer Aniston or
Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence. Not people like that. These are people who are like maybe starring in like an odd TV show, or your background actors, right? Lot of like supporting actors. They don't get paid like this famous like superstars, right? So
Yeah.
it's a very it's a tough situation, I would say, based on like after my research on this topic, I have lot of empathy for these artists. Second, the other thing that I found out was the concept of residuals, right? Residuals is a concept. So what is residual, right? Residual is basically typically how a actor or a writer gets paid usually is like you do the movie and you get paid for the movie, right? There was a reform in Hollywood that happened around 1970s, which was actually led by Ronald Reagan. And what that reform did was it brought in the concept of residuals. Now, with residuals, you don't only get paid once when the movie or the TV show is produced, but you get paid every time. For example, if the TV show is rerun on a network television, you will get paid some amount every time that the show is rerun. So, for example, let's say the first time Friends TV show was uh, played on network TV was in 90s, right? But since then, it has been played like hundreds, probably thousands of times on different network television, on Netflix or like other streaming providers. So if for every time it has been paid, a writer or an actor who has worked on that TV show has gotten paid some amount, right? So all that adds up. So it ensures that not only the studio gets paid every time it is rerun, but the people who like actually work to make it happen also gets paid. So that's like I think that's a great setup that Hollywood has for its artists. Now, how is that getting impacted with all this, right? So what has happened over the last decade is like companies like Netflix and Amazon Video, Hulu, they have all gotten into the business of making movies, right? Um, and what happens when streaming companies starts making movies is you don't have to depend on ads, right?
Mhm.
So typically, the earlier when the network TVs used to make TV shows, they would make 22 episodes for every season. Now, if you look at most of the shows on Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, it's not 22 episodes. It's typically like 8 to 10 episodes, sometimes 12 episodes, right? Now, why is it that the number of episodes have gone down? The reason is that earlier you had to put advertisements in between the show, right? So because you had to put ads, the shows would become slower, and that's why to complete a story you had to have like 22 episodes. Now with Netflix, you don't have to put ads, right? You can just take the subscription and show the entire episode without any interruption in between. So you can quickly finish the story. So that's why only 8 episodes. Now, what's the problem with 8 episodes? Earlier, the writers or the actors would get paid for 22 episodes, which was approximately like 8 to 10 months. So throughout the year, you would get paid. Now, with the companies only making 8 episodes, you hardly get paid for like 2 to 3 months in a year. So you have like almost like
and
70-60% of the year still left for you to like earn. How do you
and there
get
is
your money?
no broadcasting concept, right? It is on
There's
the
no
platform.
broadcasting concept.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it is on the platform. You can't even count how many times someone is running it, right? Like,
Exactly. That's
so
that's that's the big problem. There is the
yeah,
concept of residual is still there because it's like, I think it's legal uh, thing, so they have to pay you residual. But the problem is Netflix does not share the numbers with
exactly.
anybody, that how many
Yes,
times a video was played. So
yes.
the residuals that the actors are getting are like laughable, the amount that they are getting. So,
Yeah.
so I was looking at some video of an actor who played a very important character in a TV series, very famous TV series on Netflix called Orange is the New Black,
Hmm.
and her residual was like $20.20.
Oh my God.
And it's not that
Okay.
she just did one episode. She has done like 60 episodes of that very famous
Wow.
TV series, and she just got 20. So it's basically nothing, right? And they were saying that
Yeah.
they don't even have health insurance. So
Hmm.
it's a difficult situation. So that's kind of the background on what's happening with the strike situation. And I thought this was an interesting topic to talk about
But
in the tech
how
banter.
how are but
Go ahead.
how are they gonna but how are they gonna resolve this, right? Because AI is not gonna go away. Producers are not gonna spend throw away money, right? What is the resolution for this?
I don't know. The Both the Writers Guild and the Screen Actors Guild have some asks. Um, they are they are like, yeah, like one of the asks from the Writers Guild was to promise or like make sure that no artificial intelligence was being used for writing scripts. Um, Now it's very difficult. How would
Yes,
you
that is.
enforce that it is not being used, right?
Yes.
So that was one of the asks. I think from the writers are the actors are asking for compensation if their
Mm.
likeness is going to be used, which I think is very fair.
Yeah.
So I don't have any idea how they will resolve it, but hopefully it gets resolved because it is already impacting television. So
Yeah.
for people who follow the night shows, the daily night shows of Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon or Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, they all are not happening because all the writers for those shows are on strike. So they are currently doing reruns of past shows.
Okay.
Uh, the impact on Netflix and Amazon Videos and Hulu is still not felt because you have like
Yeah.
steady flow of shows which have been shot in the past, but it will start to show the knock-on
So,
effects very soon. So it'll start getting impacted. I don't know how they are going to resolve it. Um, they need to figure it out. But yeah, I honestly think like even like beyond figuring this out, like how is the movie and TV show situation going to look like? Yeah, you are right that we'll continue to use technology, but will that be good or bad for the whole movie and TV show industry is something that remains to be seen.
yes.
So yeah, so how does this impact the quality of movies? So I was watching another video where they were discussing a similar topic, and they were showing a very interesting metric which I have on the screen here. So they took the top 100 movies from IMDb based on some list they found on IMDb, and they created a distribution of which decade do those movies map to. And if you see here, it's starting from 1930s like up to 2020s, and the highest distribution is in the 1950s and 1970s, right? So
Mhm.
approximately 20 movies in 1950s out of the top 100, approximately 18 movies from 1970s in the top hundreds. But the surprising thing is, in 2010s and 2020s there are none, and then in 2000s there are only three movies from this list. So it seems like, as there was more technology that got into Hollywood and movie making, the like great movies we haven't seen so many great movies. It's not directly proportional to the amount of technology that has gotten in, right? It seems like it is
Yeah.
inversely proportional. So this is obviously like one data. I thought this was like an interesting thing to
Mhm.
kind of look at. So I hope that with technology we don't lose the creativity,
Yeah.
that because Hollywood is obviously world famous for its creativity. It
Yeah.
leads the way in terms of making awesome movies. So we have all grown up watching movies from Hollywood. So I hope that it continues to do that, and we don't lose that with all the technology and AI that's coming in. So I
Yeah.
hope they can, the producers and the artists can resolve this between themselves, and it becomes a win-win for all of them. But we'll keep following this
Yeah.
topic.
Sure. I hope so. So let's move to our third topic, right? The
Yeah.
third topic is rebranding of Twitter, right? So I think, what do you think, Ankur? Why this rebranding is happening? Give,
Uh,
give your honest opinion. Why do you think this rebranding is happening?
I think this is not surprising. This is in line with how Elon has been dealing with
Hmm.
Twitter since he like attempted to acquire the company, eventually acquired, and kind of then laid off most of the company folks, and then is now completely rebranding the name, right? So I think he wants to completely eliminate any trace of the old Twitter,
Okay.
and he wants to basically completely rebrand it. And he was sitting on this name X and the domain x.com for I think decades now, probably like 20, 30 years. So finally he's like using it. And yeah,
I think
I
I think this is a move because of threads, right? So threads took a lot of front page discussions and having the fastest number of users. I think it was time for Twitter to come to the front and show what it is, right? So Elon Musk, I think he did this to come to the front. He loves to be at the center of the stage, right? But if you go and see his tweets, I have his one of his tweets. Let's go and see what he has written. Why he's doing the rebranding.
yeah.
So in this tweet, he says Twitter was acquired by X Corp, which is correct, right? Both because of like freedom of speech, right, and to uh, and as an accelerant for X, right, the everything app. So basically, he acquired Twitter to make an everything app, right? So he's saying that the 140 character message that Twitter was having is no more like the thing in this app, right? You can have post in form of hour long videos. That you can have pictures in this now, right? That is the reason he says that he's gonna rebrand it into X, right? So that is the legitimate reason that Elon Musk has given behind this rebranding. Now the question is it a wise decision, or is this something like, I think people are questioning it at this point. So there was one tweet from someone, and Elon actually replied to that. So this is a tweet someone posted saying Twitter change to X wipes out 4 billion to 20 billion in brand value.
Yeah,
That's a huge, from 10 to like 45, 50% of value if you're losing because of rebranding. That's a huge. Elon Musk took time and replied to this saying X will become the most valuable brand on earth. Mark my words, right?
let's see.
So I
Hopefully.
think I think yeah, every time Elon Musk does something, people question it, and he usually comes out as a winner, right? He has this attitude, I think. But it's, I
But he
think,
has not done consumer social. That's the difference. He's good
yeah,
with like these physical things like cars and rockets and all that. But yeah, he wants to make it a everything app like WeChat. I think China has
yes,
WeChat, which is
exactly, exactly.
he wants to
So
integrate
basically,
payments and all that.
yes, he wants to integrate with it payments and social and everything, right? So I think this rebranding, I think, like if you take my opinion, I think it's a good move because, in a way, Twitter wants to revamp things. And once you rebrand something, it starts that cycle of how things will look forward. But to do it with Twitter, right? Twitter, I will tell you the brand of Twitter, right? Uh, Twitterati is a word that is in Oxford Dictionary, and
Yeah,
the definition for that Twitterati is someone who posts on Twitter frequently.
yeah,
Like, think of this, right? When it becomes like a noun, uh, and like words like Twitterati, right? Many people after the announcement started saying, if you are changing Twitter to X, what are you going to change tweet to? Like, people tweet on this, right?
yeah,
And people started making a lot of fun about it, right? Like, because it is very hard to come up with a name like a tweet, right? Yeah, so the brand value is ingrained in three, it has 350 million users, and all those users relate themselves with tweets and Twitter. um, so let's see how it goes, but
yeah,
I hope it turns out well for Elon Musk and X company now.
yeah,
Cool. Yeah, this was the update for all the three topics from our side. With this, let's move to the fantasy stock section today. For anyone who is new to this, we, at the end of every podcast, we look into our fantasy stock picks. Basically, it's a game which Ankur and me, we participate in that, and we have a notional money in the start of the month, and we pick like $10,000 notional money stocks, and we compare it at the end of every podcast episode. So let's look at Ankur's portfolio.
this is as of 27th of July. I am at a gain of $327 on my investment of $10,730 at the start of this month, July. My investments were in Apple, uh, Meta or Facebook, Netflix, and Domino's Pizza. Most of my money was in Meta and Netflix, and I think Meta has done well,
Ah,
especially today. Was it today or yesterday? I think yesterday it came out with the
yesterday
results.
they announced, yeah, yesterday
Yeah,
they announced the results, I think, and they
yeah,
were really, the results were really good actually.
yeah.
Uh,
I think their year of efficiency is
okay, paying
working
off.
out. So the
Nice.
stock went up by 5-6%.
Yeah,
So
I think that is one of your biggest winner, $315 just from
yeah,
Meta, and you have total of 327.
yes,
So
you are right.
it
Basically, Meta is what has been saved
it's
me.
one of the biggest. Yeah, I think it's a clear winner, and to be honest, it was a really good pick from you for this month.
Yeah, that has worked out, but Netflix didn't turn out to be a good pick. I had put a good chunk in Netflix, but Netflix also the results came out, and I think their forecast for the next quarter was not something that
Okay.
the street liked so much. So that stock went down. So I am at a negative $200 on Netflix. Domino's, I think if you look at percentage wise, Domino's has been the
Yeah,
best.
it is a winner in this portfolio. I think it is almost like 21% or 20%, right?
Yeah, 20% up.
Yeah, it's 20%
So
up, which is amazing.
yeah. So yeah, this week or this month, the portfolio has been having wild swings for me. But
Okay.
uh, Vishal,
Wow.
you are not far away. You are
Mm.
also yeah. Go ahead,
Let's
talk about yours.
So looks like I am at $290 almost, $290 gain. But looks like I had 10 picks and 4 picks are in red and 6 picks are in green. But looks like overall, all the stocks that I picked, none of them have done exceptionally well. Uh, but most of them have done an average returns, right? So my portfolio is up around 2.8, 2.9 percentage, right? So I think all the stocks that are in the portfolio, they have done not exceptionally well. But I think the biggest miss was on Netflix and Tesla. So I
Yeah.
had I had given like $1,000 to both of them almost, and both of them are in red, right? So I am surprised that Amazon is in red and Snowflake is in red, right? I didn't thought about these two companies to go red. Maybe they might have the forecast looks bad, right? So maybe that is the impact. Overall market went down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Amazon also
So
results came out, and I think the stock price has been flat after the results. Usually it goes up
okay.
or down. For you, I think you this JP Morgan did very well. It was a good pick
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
in banking.
Hmm.
That stock is almost up like 8-9%. And then HD is Home Depot, right? Home Depot also
Yeah.
has done really well for you.
Nice. Okay.
So we
Yeah.
still have
Overall,
two trading sessions left,
three
tomorrow
trading
and Monday.
sessions. Oh yeah,
No,
two trading
two
sessions.
trading
Yeah.
sessions, right? Yeah. So anything can happen. Our portfolios have been having wild swings.
Okay.
I think I was down. I was up as high as I think $800, and then my lowest was some I think $100 or something.
Okay.
Or maybe
Okay.
like negative, I think. Anyways,
Oh really? Hmm.
similarly, I think Vishal, you also have been having a lot of swings, so anything can
Okay.
happen over the next couple of days. I think there are a few
Yeah.
more earnings that are coming out. So we'll show you guys what happens, who is the
Okay.
winner next week, and then we are also planning to do one episode talking about the earnings of the tech companies. So that should be interesting. We should be covering a lot of the companies that we have on our portfolios here. So watch out for that. But otherwise, I think this is it for today's episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and follow us. And we'll see you all in the next one. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you everyone. Bye.